back to our seats for our last panel, okay? Blow the whistle. It's our birthday. We party. Look, we're just getting started. Again, we're doing all the learning. We fundraise. Crank that. Hey, where the fans at? What? 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 Hey, 5 years, 5 years. It's our anniversary, y'all. We gonna party. Hey. Oh, I got mine too, y'all. Get to them seats. Okay. Come on. Oh. Girl, she almost hurt somebody. Hold on to the fans, y'all. Don't lose your fans. Okay. We're not blowing the whistle today. We cracking the fan. But don't crack anybody with the fan, girl. Come on. Okay. Hey. Crack the fan, y'all. Happy birthday to Touch. 5 years of excellence. Beautiful black excellence in his room, y'all. Look, I'm not gonna play the fan song, but once you guys get your seat, I'm gonna play the fan song, okay? Here's what we do. Okay, we're gonna practice. I feel like Mama Ricky probably has the dance already down. Mama Ricky, you know the dance yet? We gonna do it later. Make sure you guys get your fans, but right now have a seat. We got one more very inspiring panel. Amazing, 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 inspiring stories. Education that we all need to share. Okay? All right, all right, all right. Okay. Girl, this is the good playlist, so you hear it. I told you guys I can DJ. I DJ a little bit too. I'm trying to get us in our seats so we don't start the party early. Well, I'm gonna do a few things. First off, again, thank you all so much for being here for this amazing, wondrous, black excellence, beautiful room full of 5 years, y'all. 5 years is a long time, and amazing work that Touch is doing. You know, and all of the organizations, but again, we're here to celebrate and continue. We're not stopping. We're going and we're going, we're going. I'm going to talk about some things, okay? Cool. In 2023, 15 Black breast cancer organizations came together to pilot an advocacy leadership conference for Black women-led grassroots organizations, okay? Together, we are on a highway to achieving mortality rates that are eradicating Black breast cancer. Okay, eradicating. I love the word eradicating. I'm like, yes, we're here for getting rid of it, okay? This groundbreaking gathering was reflective of our collective mission as Black-led grassroots advocacy organizations, and it spoke to our shared commitment to partner with other organizations to share resources and knowledge. Make some noise for yourselves for coming together to continue to eradicate this thing that is killing us, okay? Not anymore, we're not doing it. This summit called The Highway empowered each one of us to take sustainable action, allowing us to hold each other accountable for advancing crucial life-saving science for Black breast cancer survivors and thrivers, y'all. One more time. We are doing the work to continue to make sure that the survivors and thrivers, I love thrivers, okay, period, have all the things that they need to continue to live. Please stand if you were at and a part of the highway. Please stand up. Or is anybody at the highway? Stand up and get your flowers, get your flowers, get your things. If you were a part of the highway, thank you so much for all of the work that you do and continue to do. We are thankful for you and really excited to bring up my girl, Miss Val, with the, come on, with the shoes, y'all. Listen, we love the shoes, honey. Okay, and it's sparkly here. I love it. Come on, Miss Val. Okay, come on, hold on, one more time. Give me a little spin. Ow. Thriving, honey, that's what we call it. She got the bling bling, okay? Miss Val, I'm gonna give this on over to you and you're gonna take us away.
Thank you. So I'm gonna play this video. You got it.
I thought that was the soundtrack. I love that. Right? I was okay with it actually. That was good. Oh, you can go. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna tell you just a little bit about the highway. We changed it from the name of highway to belong, which I think is so powerful. But belong stands for Blessties, Empowering Leadership, Opportunity, and Nurturing Growth. And that's what we do. Now, so the definition is that we are an advocacy leadership program that brings together Black-led grassroots organizations, and I emphasize grassroots organizations in all 50 states, so that's powerful, to leverage our collective strengths by working together, so we don't have to be strong in every single thing, but when we work together, we are strong, we are stronger. We share information and resources, and we build a sisterhood that's led by Black women diagnosed with breast cancer. And so being a part of Belong has just really been life-changing to me. Many years ago, I led a organization, it was grassroots, and I'm gonna tell you, it was hard to get it together. And it's so challenging in every area you can think about. This is not to discourage you, but just to bring it to reality. Not only is it money that you need time, effort, volunteers, and it is hard sometimes to get all of those things. But this group of ladies that are part of Belong, they don't think it robbery to, after working 8 hours a day, to still have time to take care of things that they need to do with Belong. They don't think it robbery when they tell their family, you go on, because this is a breast cancer survivor that needs my help. They don't think it robbery when someone calls them late at night, say, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm in pain, and I don't have the copay for this particular medication. They don't think it robbery to call each other and to lift each other up. And that's what Belong is all about. We want every grassroots organization that needs support, that needs help, to be a part of our group so that they can feel like they belong. So it is my honor to introduce to you all who will lead the next panel discussion, Megan Claire Chase. And she comes and could her panelists come as well? And thank you so much. I love your smile. And another cute. I love your heart.
Oh, I love this microphone.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for staying for our last panel to talk about some of the members of Belong. So I'm going to kick it off with some introductions. I am Megan Claire Chase, and yes, Megan Claire is the first name. director for Share Cancer Support, a nonprofit based in New York City, and also the host of our BC Life podcast through Share. And with that hat off, I'm going to talk to you under my other hat, Warrior Megzi. That's right. I am a 9-year invasive lobular breast cancer survivor. So it really means a lot to be sitting up here with all of you and these brilliant beauties. So let's kick it off with some other introductions.
Well, I go first. Bear with me, everybody. I'm losing my voice today. But my name is Dr. Nicole Eggleston. I am a 5-year breast cancer survivor of triple negative breast cancer. Thank you. This is a very celebratory moment for a lot of us. Definitely for Ricky. Has 5 years, it matters, it's big, it's huge, especially for a TNBC. So my journey through breast cancer really started at age 40. At the time, I was a stay-at-home mom. I put my career on hold. And I didn't know a lot about breast cancer. And in fact, I was not doing my self-breast exams because it was something that was not even taught to me as a child. So when I was breastfeeding my 9-month-old, I felt my lump. And I thought it was a clogged milk duct. And like most, I tried to alleviate the clogged milk duct. But it wasn't going away. So I called my OBGYN, and she, thank God, was not very passive about it. She was like, if it doesn't go away by Monday, you need to come in and you need to see me. And that led to my first mammogram, and she put an ultrasound on there. Thank God she did, because if you don't have a diagnostic ultrasound, on that referral, you may not get it that day. So she put a diagnostic ultrasound referral in for me. And on that mammogram, they said, oh, something looks suspicious. But because I have dense breast tissue, they didn't know exactly what it was. And that ultrasound picked up that I had a mass, and it was 3 centimeters. And so that led into my diagnosis. But my journey with breast cancer was very filled with a lot of grief. I went through a lot of loss. And through that, not having the resources, as Valerie and a lot of people were saying, I had small kids, I was going through a divorce, I lost my insurance, I lost my home, and as I'm expressing to someone else, when you lose all that, who's there to help you? I didn't have anyone navigating me through the process. And so that was the spark that said that I wanted to help other women to not feel the pain and the darkness clouding over me as, I felt an experience. And so it led me last year to start my ministry called Hope for Life. And for me, hope is something that comes from God, because I know that He's the one that pulled me through. And light is His Holy Spirit, because I really felt like I was in a dark place. And so through this ministry, it has really grown me. And honestly, I want to give a lot of tribute to Ricky. She really was a blessing to me in my life. And that's how God is. He'll place people at the right moment in your life for a reason and a purpose. And she told me, I need to put my big girl panties on and get to work. And so she did. So soon as I finished my radiation, this was back in September of 2020. And again, I'm sorry for my voice. I sound like Kermit. But she was like, I want you to be on my show talking about the inequality in healthcare. And I saw the inequality. And again, I'm a veterinarian, so I am medically trained. But even for me, I was almost given the wrong chemotherapy. I was almost killed by the chemo because they again gave the wrong chemo, tried to give me again the wrong chemotherapy. And if it wasn't for me advocating for myself and standing up, I wouldn't be here today. So I'm sorry to be so long-winded, but I want to say this, is that would led me into Hope for Life, and also Ricky. Because I am not a non-for-profit yet. My goal is to be one. So resources can be handed out to the community where it's needed. There's child care that needs to be provided. There is home care services that need to be provided. There's even reliable transportation that needs to be provided. And education, I started there. I said, I don't have much money, Lord. What do you want me to do? He said, serve. I went to my churches in my community. And that was hard too, because they don't want to talk about certain things. And they try to put ropes around you and tape around your mouth. And they go, don't say breast at church. Well, that's what God gave us. 2 of them. You know? But they don't want you to say certain things. And even in certain churches that's more Caucasian filled, they don't want you to talk about inequity. They don't want you to talk about racial biases. That's just like, shh, too political. So I faced a lot of opposition within even the church. So a lot of work needs to be done. So that's what I want to do through my ministry, Hope for Life. Sorry, y'all.
Good afternoon. My name is Rhonda Brunson. I'm the lead her of Tata Tuesdays. Hey, breast friends. These are my breast friends. We are a 501c3 organization. Our goal is to match or to create an environment where the sisterhood and the social experience goes into the room with the science. We understand that we die because we don't know. Many, many women, when they're diagnosed, they follow the instruction of the doctor. It is through your breast friend that you learn everything else. The doctor will say, this medicine is highly tolerated. Your breast friend will say, oh, no, that's not right, that's not true. The doctor will say, use this cream for radiation. Your breast friend will say, girl, use this. So we depend on each other. Everyone in this room, if you have boobs, you are my breast friend. And the goal is to be a first stop along the way for anyone that's diagnosed. As soon as you find out, to come to us so that we can make sure that you have every tool in your toolbox to fight. Women, we're so diverse in our education, in our upbringing, in the way that we comprehend, in the way that we communicate. Recently, I went to a doctor's appointment with a breast friend who is a recovering addict. She's in methadone treatment. She, her education, I think she maybe dropped out of high school. Her comprehension is not the same as someone else that's going in and getting the same information at the same time. So while I'm in the doctor's office, I'm playing the role of translator. Do you understand what this lady is saying to you? No. Okay, let me break it down in the language that you understand. That's the only way that we're all going to get through it, because the assumption is that because the doctor said it is true, maybe not. But your breast friend will be there holding your hand the entire time. Thank you.
Well, I guess since I'm in pink, I'm a best friend.
Hey, Rosie!
Hello everyone, my name is Jill Brandt and I am the CEO of Sisters Working It Out. It was founded in 2001 by Dr. Monica Peak, who is a physician at the University of Chicago. As of 2013, I became the CEO of Sisters Working It Out. Dr. Peak, unfortunately, 6 years into our organization was basically, she got married, she got pregnant, and during her 4th month of pregnancy, she was diagnosed with breast cancer at 34 years old. So this became a hardship for her. So basically, I reached out and said, hey, we have 501(c)(3), so we really doesn't belong to anybody, so can I have it? So let me be your godmother to this baby. And through that, God gave me the wisdom and the knowledge to actually be the manager for the mobile mammography department at Stroger Hospital, one of the second largest FDA FQAC in the world. And I just happened to be the manager for mammograms. And I think I'm the only one on the panel recently that I have not a breast cancer survivor. So most people will say, then why are you into this? Well, being the manager for the department, I found out how hard it was to get women of color and to get a mammogram. So basically, if you knew me, it was so easy for you to get your appointment. Why? Because you could just call me and say, hey, can you get me? But what about the rest of us in this room that wasn't able to get those mammograms? And we can only see 20 patients a day because our doctor, we only have, at the largest FQAC in the world, we have one physician that had to do the stereotyping exam, who had to do the biopsies, who had to read your screen, who had to do all of this. But we had 13,000 women that needed a member. So during this time and advocating and working with other sisters in the community, not only were we working in the Black community, we was in the Asian community, we was in the Hispanic community, we was in the Latino community, and we ended up forming 20 groups just from the life of saying that we need that type of services. So I've been in this position now. I think the twins are 16 years old. I asked Dr. Pete whenever she's ready for her baby back, I'd be happy to give it back. But one of the things that most people don't know that I do not talk about, I am a 4-year uterus survivor. So one of the things about that, did I have a lot of time to actually base my experience and what I was going through because I was a uterus cancer survivor? I was already 21 years into being a breast advocate. So basically, I knew what to do. I knew how to advocate for myself. The problem is, not only do you have to advocate with your doctor, you have to advocate, you have to show the staff what it is to advocate. Because when I called in, I'm postmenopausal, right? I called in, I tell the staff, I'm postmenopausal, and I need to get in to see the doctor. It was in February. She said, oh, I can't get you in until July. So I said, maybe I'm country. So let me repeat that. I'm in postmenopause and I'm bleeding. I need to see a doctor. And she tells me, again, I don't have anything until July. So I politely hung up the phone. I text my doctor because I knew her personally. They said, girl, what's up with your staff? I just told her she said, Pamela, you must have misunderstood her. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna even go there with you. I need to get it. Well, that next week I got my appointment. And what a lot of us don't understand is, I did a pap smear, my pap smear came back negative. A lot of us would have walked out that doctor's office and said, well, maybe I just had bleeding from something else, right? But I said, but that's abnormal for me. And because I knew she was one of those really good doctors, because she did her internship with me at Sterling Hospital. So we did a transvaginal and found out I was diagnosed with malignant uterus cancer. So she said, we can just take out your uterus, and she told my husband, this is what we're gonna do. I said, you don't talk to me. That's my body. Honey, I respect you, but I didn't make this call. Now, what we gonna do? And then May of the same year, I had a total hysterectomy. Didn't have to think about whether I was going to go for chemo. Didn't have to do chemo. Why? Because I advocated for myself early. I didn't need no radiation. I didn't need any chemo. And I'm still back out here fighting for my sister who wants their boobs. That's who I am.
You know, as I think about this whole day and these stories that I just heard right now, it is about having your voice heard, demanding to be seen, and demanding to be believed. And so that is why grassroots organizations are so important. So, you know, I'd love it if each of you could tell us, what is the value of local advocacy? Because we have, you know, some national cancer organizations, but what is it like to be right there local? What does that mean to you?
I'll speak. That's where I started. I started where my home was within the church. And what I saw was fear. And to be honest, lack of resources. And just not being educated enough to understand the risk factors for disease. And for me, looking at the CDC website, cancer.org website, there's so many things that can point to disease, and it's your risk factors. And the unfortunate thing is that they don't talk enough in the church, like Valerie was saying earlier, about how although they may have ministries, women health ministry, health, ministries, but the problem is trying to break normal routines is challenging. trying to help people to see that they matter enough to get that second opinion, to go and plead like Aria and all these people have talked and said, like even myself, I had to challenge the authority of my care providers, and I was termed being difficult. I was termed being, you know, the angry black woman in there who thinks she knows blah, blah, blah medicine. She's just an animal doctor, that type of stuff. And it really can make you feel like, why me, and stop. But you have to keep going. And the other thing is, think about in your community, what is the major health institutions? For me, it's Avid Health. I'm in Florida, in Orlando. So I reached out and saw if they had a community outreach program. Some do, some don't. I know cancer.org, I went on their website to see if they had a branch open in Central Florida. Well, it closed. Why is that? And when I saw the area that I lived in, that I went to the county to see what services they provide, they only provide it for women who are 55 years old and over. Also who do not have insurance or under a certain level of income. Well, that's not good enough for people like me or Hispanic women, anyone. Because we're getting it younger, we don't fall within the 55. And to hear even a 6-year-old woman, she turned 60 and I'm advocating against breast cancer. She tells me, oh, I don't have to worry about that anymore. My doctor told me I don't need no more mammograms because I'm already 60. I said, he's a lie. Actually, I said, the devil is a lie. That's the first thing. I said, no, he's a liar. And I'm sorry to say that, and you need to see another doctor. Because if you still have 2 boots on your body, and you're still breathing, you need to be checked regularly. I even had my OBG tell me I don't need to see her until 3 years, and I told her, no, I'll see you next year. You know, so it's just really understanding the need in the community and how you can fit to work it out.
I think that the benefit of having local groups is what you see today. A few of the women here, one's from Las Vegas, one's from Fort Washington, the majority are from Baltimore. When you have local, it means I can touch you. If you're going through something, I can get to you. We have a few best friends, raise your hand, that all rode in the same car today. They just met each other, right? Wow. So it's because of that, we can create our own unity. We can also, at the same time, change the narrative about how women get along. I was more of a guy girl before breast cancer. Now I'm a girl. So it changes the assumption that black women can't get along. We don't compliment each other. All we do is compliment each other. So I think because it's local, we are effective. I think that on the national level and internationally, those companies that receive more resources, they lack. I shouldn't say this, but the character is different of the organization. The heart for me is different than when I can actually reach out and help these women. It's different.
I would say, just like you just said, reaching out and being able to touch someone. Having someone there to go with you to your doctor's appointment. I think that's the most important. Sometimes when I had a young lady, patient who said, I would rather die than tell my family so they can take me to my appointments. And it wasn't until someone like us telling our story that she actually went up to an advocate who was telling her story to say, hey, I need to go get my radiation, I need to go get my chemo, but one son is an addict, the other one is a alcoholic. And so I just rather die and didn't ask anybody to help me. But after hearing someone else's story, they gave her our information and they called me and said, hey, I have a patient who decided that she'd rather die than to go to because she has no way to get to her appointment. And I ended up talking to the young lady. She ended up being said she was to me young, 72 years old. She needed radiation. How many of us know radiation is 5 days a week? So that means that for 5 days for the next month, she needed a doctor. She needed to get to her doctor. So I was able to take her every single day. I decided to take her, my sister is here with me from Las Vegas. So one of the things we always talk about is meeting them where they are. And one of the things I said, so where are you? And when she told me her story, and I said, I'll be there every day to pick you up. She was on my route. So I could call my sister sometimes and say, oh God, what do you do? Pray for my sister, pray for this. She said, so where is she? So should I be praying for her, or should you be praying for her? Is she on my route, or is she on your route? I said, girlfriend, okay, I got you. And so what I do, I still put her on our prayer list, but I'm still in a position where I will go and pick her up. But my last week of her appointment, I have so many other patients, but I took interest in her. And I had my nephew, who was an Uber driver, pick her up. And she said, I got one more week to do this, and then I have some other things I need to do. She said, is it possible that you don't come pick me up because you're a woman, he's a young man, and she's with two young men? She said, I appreciate what you do. No, it's a young man's life. She's a mother's, she's a boy mom, right? So because she didn't have in her son what my nephew had, she just wanted to be in the presence of what she called a decent young man. So she said to be in the presence of a young man who knows how to treat somebody like me, she said, I just need to know what it feels like to have someone who cares about me. And she's a grandmother, she's just not a mother. So to be able to tell my nephew, listen, what you did for this organization, what you did for this lady, she's alive to talk about it now. So that's what so she's a boy's mom. We always said me as a girl, where she's a mom, boy mom. And the whole point is having somebody or being in a position to call somebody in your community to be able to go out and help. So having someone opposed to calling, to the next city or the state across, being right there, I call it boots on the ground, which we're gonna be doing with the flags. Like, right? So being boots on the ground, right there in our own community.
I mean, all of you bring up such great points about that need for connection, right? That local connection. And so I remember when I was diagnosed, I didn't know anyone my age. I was also diagnosed under 40, and I realized how much I needed local support. Virtually, I have a ton. Thank goodness again for social media for that, right? That does help in isolation, but we really need more grassroots organizations locally for that local support. So can each of you tell us, what is it that you need right now for your advocacy organizations? What is it that you're missing that you dream about?
Money.
Money.
That's it.
Money. Okay. We need money. We need financial support. I get jealous. When we doing something random and I'll get a text message saying, if you rent this car through Alamo, this much goes to COVID. Really? This much should go to breast friends. We're doing the work, and I'm not saying they're not, but the work, everyone that has been activated by breast cancer does something different. You all do clinical trials. We're doing social sisterhood and science. Everyone has something different. I think that we get overlooked because we're not national, because we don't have the name recognition. But we really do need the resources. My desire, we have breast friend jackets, nobody has one on right now, but my desire would be to have a team of women that have passed some type of breast friend certification that can go with other women to the hospital. But when I send them, they need gas, they need lunch, you know what I mean? We do need resources. It's just more difficult for us, excuse me, it's my fan. It's just more difficult for us to get them. We need money.
And I want to say another thing what really helps is getting some media attention into what it is that we're doing because we're so small. So I would say, but I talk about who we are. I said we're small, but we're mighty. So I think just last year we was able to reach over 2,600 women with just food, and then we was able to give 450 women rides to and from because of our relationship with Uber. So money, so it takes. They give you $10,000 within 4 months because people have to go radiation. They have to. You're gone through that $10,000 in less than 4 months. You got 6 more months to go, right? Or it says I can't add. Well, it's whatever that 4 plus is for the rest of the year is. So the whole point is okay. Thank you, Lovey, my mathematician back there. But the thing about it is, yes, money is for those reasons. And then looking at small grassroots organizations like ourselves, how how do we learn to barter more since we know we don't have those type of funds that, I can't pay you to come in and speak, but can you ride that out for me? And that's where Ricky and her team comes in. Haley and Uza and Emma, all these guys every year will fly into Chicago for our Day of Beauty and never ask me for a dime. And they sit on our committee to say, hey sis, but Ricky will also, I met Ricky first, and Ricky said when I got introduced to Haley, I forgot who she was. So you have I have that relationship with all these girls that say, hey, I have babies here that I can look up, I can call, and they just do anything I say do. So I would think, whatever you need to do, get that one partnership of these people that say, you know what, if I can't call up anybody else, I don't make them my last call. I'll call everybody. We'll say, you know what, you're my last choice because I know you're going to go through. No, I know they're going to come through, so they're always my first choice.
Yeah, I agree and I echo all of that because for me, I started solo. God just told me to serve. And so I said, Lord, how in the world do you want me to start a ministry? I have no money and not a lot of time. He said, well, I want you to use the money you don't have and the time you feel you don't have to do what I want you to do. And so I did that. And so the thing is, I have been blessed through Ricky and the whole touch. Because again, like you were saying, I needed bags, I needed brochures, I needed stuff. Because I could not afford to do all of that. And I know Haley, she sent me a box load of like over 350 or so bags. And I handed out each one of those with myself and my daughter. It was just us, my 9-year-old and my daughter. And it was a beautiful moment because I saw a spark in her at 9. And I said, oh wow, Lord, I see a glimpse of what you're doing here. And so we just really need this nurturing support. A lot of the women here, I'm so amazed and admired by what you do. It would be good to have a database or a resource page or some type of directory with your locations so that that could be our point of contact, our black book, to where we know like, okay, this is what I do, this is where I'm at, this is the event I'm trying to have, I need you all on spot. Can you post this out for me on social media? Can you help me? Because I'm not big on social media. I don't have a lot of followers, I don't understand some of it. But, there is a lot of other people here who do. And so if we can collectively just use our gifts and our talents that God has given us and work together, we can not only be stronger, but we can be more efficient. We can be inclusive and effective.
Oh, I love that. Yes, that round of applause. Because, again, it is about that community. And the fact that the arena is big enough for us all, right? And I love that each of you are saying that I see you, we need support, we need money, because as we all know what that African proverb is, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So tell us, what is the best way for pharma to support you in the needs?
Well, see me as somebody that's trying to be a partner with you. Don't just sponsor and come with, awareness months or some type of corporate event and that's where your focus is and you think growth or change is going to happen that way. Because advocacy is action, and action brings change. And it has to be consistent. And it's not just a one-stop, I'm here, here's some money. But it needs consistent money throughout the whole year, throughout the whole process for change to happen. So just kind of like, I guess Rihanna said one time at some awards, show up. Be present. Be engaged. Listen to the community to which your products are being shipped to and see how it's working for them. Because it may not, and maybe then you need to go back, not to the stockholders or shareholders, but to people who actually care. And sit us at your table in the beginning of the process to understand what our concerns are and what our views are. So therefore we can collaborate and build an infrastructure together to help move this pivoting point and the target to where we needed to go.
I went to my first SABCS last year. Amazing. That's what inspired me to start wanting to get my breast friends into the science. Too often doctors tell us what to take, but they don't tell us why. And they also don't really prepare us for the side effects. They kind of say it, they kind of don't. When I was in SABCS though, what I noticed was each booth had the time. They had time today to break down what it is that their drug is supposed to do, what you can do about your side effects. I think that Keisha was having an issue with funding for Kisqali or something. And the Kisqali rep stayed with me for 35 minutes while we were on the phone with her trying to figure out how to get her insurance to approve it and what codes and coupons they had available. I think pharma needs to support us, but then we also need to go into the rooms where they are to better understand the product so that people don't just walk around with misinformation. For example, tamoxifen. Everybody hates it, but not everyone's taking it. Everyone has something bad to say, but then some of the girls have had no side effects at all. And we can turn other people off from taking medicine just by how we speak on it. It didn't work for you, but so what? It could work for them. So don't, for pharmaceutical companies, I just want them to take more time to break down what the doctor really is not saying. And they are available to you if you put yourself in the room.
I totally agree with both of what you guys are saying, but I would, like you said, I would love if they would stay with us through that research. One of the things I've learned from research is giving us the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s about clinical trials and research. Because one of the things we found out, we actually work with a company, a pharmaceutical company who had us to work with a university for a clinical trial or for certain type of medication. But what they don't do is to give you the breakdown to say, okay, we went out and we solicited 100 people for a clinical trial, right? We solicited and got 100 people for this trial. But once we submitted the data, only 4 people qualified, right? So you spend all your time boots on the ground, again, trying to find these people for clinical trials, then to find out there's a barrier behind the barrier, right? So we always say there's so many barriers up, then we get past that, and then you know what, I don't have a way to get to the clinical trial. We get to the clinical trials and they said, oh, but we forgot to tell you, you have high blood pressure, then you can't be a part of the clinical trial. So the thing about it is breaking down what it is that we need to actually know as boots on the ground before we start to go out and recruit people for the clinical trial. So I think it's giving us a better understanding on how to solicit for clinical trials or for research. Because when I found that out, my whole thing is, I'm not a mad black woman, I don't do the head shaking, but I want you to know I am very dissatisfied with what you just shared with us today. So it's basically, Beulah, can I call you offline? Sure, but tell us all online, why is it that you never told us before we recruited 100 people to find out that only 4 people was qualified for the research? So those are some of the things give us a full understanding. That way, when we are in the community, we're able to educate our community with the right information.
When I think about clinical trials, I used to be totally against them until I got breast cancer. And then when I was on certain medications, my body was intolerant. And that's when I started to realize, wait, why is this not working in me? And then I started to look at, who was part of the trial. It was that makeup, right? And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, we're not represented in these clinical trials. So therefore, we don't know how these medicines are gonna work in our bodies. We are walking clinical trials sometimes, right? And so what I'm hearing from the local level and then, the national level too, is they need to change the criteria. It is does it have to be as strict? Because again, they're going off guidelines of Europeans. So I just wanted to make sure that we highlighted that. As we start to wrap up here, what would be some takeaways that you would want everyone here, and I'm sure some of this is being videoed, right? It's gonna be on social media, yes, because we're gonna be supporting. What is it that you want people to know about your advocacy organization?
First, I would say to be in a community like Belong. I think that I'm gonna walk away to say, if it had not been for this organization, I wouldn't say we wouldn't exist, but I would say is being a part of this family has been educational. It makes me feel like the sisterhood that we have. This, hey girl, what is it? My best friend. Hey best friend. This. Uh-oh. I got enough of those to do. But to be able to say, this belong makes you really feel belong. So I am so happy, Val and Ricky, for you guys changing the acronyms and changing the title for this, because you know what? You really do make us feel belong. So I feel like a real family when y'all are doing.
I guess I can't say it enough. Being led and being humbled enough to be obedient for me is when God's calling you to do something, to act. And don't worry about your resources or where you're going to get this and that, because God does line everything up for you. And I see that when He led me to Ricky. And so with Hope for Light, my hope is that it does pan out to be a non-for-profit, and that within my community, I can really gain good partnerships, and also with you all, so that we can truly help women, because spiritual growth for me, I know that I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the Lord, and that's something that I was missing in a lot of my groups that I was in during my cancer journey. But emotional support, spiritual support, but definitely tangible resources is needed in order for anyone to go from wellness to wholeness. And for me, it's about mind, body, and spirit. We are one being, and we have to feed all of it in order for us to be healed and be able to help the next person.
Well, as Ms. Vicky says, our database grows every day. So we are always open and willing to help any new breast friend. We are a group of hers. You are a survivor, a warrior, a caregiver, a preventer, a griever, and support her. Those are our hers. Everyone falls into a category. So if ever you find that you need support, that someone that you know needs support, especially if you feel like they're receiving misinformation, send them. Let us help them. Let us educate them. When I was in the doctor's office, I was listening to an 88-year-old woman go on and on about how the medicine was going to do this and that, hadn't taken one drop. I said, excuse me, can I talk to you for one moment? She said, yeah, and she hung up the phone and she listened to me, and I gave her a card, and I told her to call me so that we can really talk about the facts, because your family can lead you down the wrong road too. But she was on the phone, chucking it out with her family, telling her, yeah, girl, don't do that. Let her do what she needs to do. So we have plenty of space for plenty more breast friends.
Well, you know, I cannot thank you enough for being willing to share the reason why you started your organizations, and the fact that it's tough, it's tiring, but you're making an impact, and we do really need that local support. And when I think about what Touch has created for the Black breast cancer community, as far as research, building community, right? Bringing us all here together, and the fact that they have done this in 5 years and they've only just gotten started, right? And more importantly, to kind of go along with this panel, thank you for making us feel like we belong.
That was so great. some noise, y'all, for that amazing piano. I love the bright screens, girl. And I'm like, okay, I wore the right dress today. Shake up, girls. Wow, make some noise one more time again. Thank you. That was really amazing. I didn't mention much about what I do, but why I'm so excited to join y'all's community and be a part and support is I also too